The recent Inazuma 11 Victory Road Hero Showcase gave us a ton of brand new information, but maybe the most WTF moment of the entire thing was when we got our first glimpse at the Mind Eaters. The Mind Eater is the new villain of Chronicle Mode, which is obviously the other story campaign where you follow Victorio Cryptix, Clark von Wunderbar, Rune, and all of them lot trying to basically save the universe, save the timeline from these Mind Eaters, or the Mind Eater. It doesn't really specify how many of them there are. And in order to defeat them, we've got to get the ultimate fighting spirit, which obviously involves going back through all the previous matches from across the entire series. And Hino describes these Mind Eaters as being from another dimension. They're higher dimensional beings. He also hints that there's an identity to be solved here. There's someone behind the Mind Eaters, perhaps. Whether or not he's just teasing us here, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe there's someone behind the Mind Eaters operating them like a puppet, or maybe they're just higher dimensional beings who have somehow leaked into our universe. Whatever the case though, it sounds like there's some theorizing to be done, and this is where I come in. I'm going to put forward 5 possible theories for who these Mind Eaters could be, what they could be, and who could be behind them. And down in the comments below, I want you guys to let me know what you think of the theories and any possible theories of your own you might have. This is the most exciting time to be an Inazuma 11 fan, so if you are one and want to see lots of Inazuma 11 content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that classic YouTube stuff. And without further ado, let's take a look at the first theory. This first one is as simple as a theory gets. What if the Mind Eaters are exactly what Hino is saying they are? They are higher dimensional beings from an alternate dimension, one beyond our own. They have somehow leaked into our universe, and we are just fighting literal demons. Or I guess angels, or gods? I'm not entirely sure what higher dimensional beings mean, other than obviously they are, I guess, better than humans in some way. In this version, we are saying that nobody is behind this, there's no familiar face, there's no one orchestrating the strings. They have just somehow managed to break into our dimension. Perhaps we're looking at something akin to the story of the devil, and that these are, higher beings who have been banished from their realm. They're leaking into our realm now, and they're trying to destroy everything. In order to defeat them, we've got to defeat them with the power of football. I don't know what the final boss in this version looks like. Is it just going to be us literally playing football against Mind Eaters? I guess. Maybe the Mind Eaters can kind of take human form. That's actually a theory. That's just something I've improv'd. But maybe these Mind Eaters will kind of take a human-esque form, and those will be the final boss, that team. I don't know why we're playing football with these fellas, but this is the Inazuma 11 universe. But what if the Mind Eaters weren't actually what they said they were? What if they weren't higher dimensional beings at all, and instead it was all an illusion? Inazuma 11 loves their, we are saying we are this, but we are not actually this. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Alias Academy in Season 2. We are aliens. No, actually, we are orphans who have been drugged. So what if the Mind Eaters are like some kind of puppet, some kind of robot? I'm thinking along the lines of a big mech here, like Evangelion, Megaton Musashi type thing. Maybe they're a projection or something like that, but I like the mech idea more. This would mean that there was someone controlling the mechs, and someone trying basically to take over the world, using this idea of, ooh, look at these scary big monsters that only I can, that only can be destroyed through football, through the ultimate fighting spirit, which doesn't exist, or something along those lines. In terms of who would be behind this, we'll get into that maybe a little bit later of some possible contenders, but I wouldn't be surprised if Inazuma 11 just pulled someone new out of their arse. It does feel like it should be someone we know, and also that's a lot more fun to theorize. But maybe it's this new robot guy who will meet. Maybe it's Cryptix. Or let's continue with someone new. Maybe it's someone completely brand new and evil who has decided they're going to take over the world by scaring everyone. Kind of like in Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio's whole strategy in that movie is, oh, look at these big monsters. Ooh, isn't that scary that only I can defeat, or that kind of idea. So this theory is me saying they are some kind of robot or mech. They are not higher dimensional beings like we've been told. They are fake. But who could be behind the strings? Well, one thing I've seen a lot of people talk about online, and so I feel like I need to bring it up in this video, is Ray Dark. Obviously, Ray Dark is the man who never dies, and with this being a going through different timelines type story mode, maybe Ray Dark has managed to infiltrate the timeline. I think this theory works with both of our previous versions. Maybe they are actually higher dimensional beings, and somehow Ray Dark has got in contact with maybe an ancestor of his, or not an ancestor, it would be a descendant of his. And together they have tapped into the higher realms and unleashed these Mind Eaters upon our universe, or the threat of these Mind Eaters. Or maybe Ray Dark is just got some big puppets. He's running a Muppet show or something like that. Or Ray Dark has watched a lot of Evangelion lately and he's decided he's just going to do that. He's going to take over the world that way. Obviously, this is implying that Ray Dark's new strategy is to take over the world, but it's Ray Dark. Maybe it is. It would also work in terms of, oh, we've got to play football, because obviously Ray Dark is quite obsessed with football. So I could see him going, yes, and I have used this big monster I have found to make the ultimate kids football team. That feels in character for Ray Dark, sure. I think probably the main reason why this theory is coming up a lot is just because Ray Dark, he's always around. He's always somewhere. He was in Chrono Stones as the grandfather. He was in Galaxy. You know what I mean? When you don't expect Ray Dark to show up, he's always there. But I'm not sure how much I think Ray Dark is behind the Mind Eaters. This feels almost one step too big for him. I could definitely see him being involved later in the storyline, but do I think he is the original perpetrator of the Mind Eater? I don't know. I have some other theories for who I think might be behind the Mind Eaters, and it's to do with the words alternate dimension. Because when you hear the words alternate dimension, especially in this multiverse crazed world we seem to live in when it comes to pop culture, I think that we're going to get to see alternate versions of pre-existing characters. This is obviously going off the assumption that when they say alternate universe, alternate dimension, it will actually be an alternate dimension. It won't just be hell, which it very easily could be. But if this is actually an alternate dimension, then maybe we'll get an evil alternate version of Rune. Hear me out. Rune, one of the few returning characters. We see that he's now leading this charge against the Mind Eaters. He's obviously sent Victorio back in time, etc., etc. Why is he doing all this? Why does he care so much? Well, I guess I would care if a big Mind Eater came through the sky, but maybe it's because he knows that on the other end of the portal is himself. An evil version of Rune with a scar on his face, you know what I mean? Maybe one who didn't meet Orion Sherwind, who ended up having his heart corrupted by something. By the lack of football or something like that, and that's what's powering him. So the ultimate fighting spirit is actually a way of getting to Rune's heart. Who knows? Maybe Rune is behind the Mind Eaters, this alternate universe evil Rune. And that would mean an evil version of Clark von Wunderbot. Maybe he's red. Maybe he's, like, I don't know, a proper villain. Maybe he says slurs. And then my final theory is a continuation of this alternate evil version theory. And this is almost like a culmination of every theory that's come before it. We're taking the alternate evil version from the fourth theory. We're taking the idea of it either being a big mech or illusion, or it being from a higher dimension, and we're putting it together with a disciple of Ray Dark. Because what if it's Jude Sharp? Look, I just think that's kind of cool. I think the idea of a proper evil version of Jude Sharp, one who encapsulates all of Ray Dark's teachings and has gone like full mad scientist mode here and literally either summoned Satan or created Satan himself. He is the villain of Inazuma 11 Victory Road's Chronicle Mode. Yes, it's confirmed. It's 100% fact. The villain of Chronicle Mode is evil Jude Sharp. Again, there will be a scar across his face. He will have a blue strand of hair. He will be evil. And he will lead his own Royal Academy. The Evil Academy. I don't know, guys. I think that theory it is pretty foolproof. I don't see any holes in that. What I'm still torn between, though, is it going to be an actual higher dimension being who Jude Sharp has used his machine to pull through into our dimension? Or, you know, into every dimension, or the timeline, or whatever he's done? Maybe it's not even an alternate universe version of Jude Sharp. Maybe Jude's just cracked. Maybe he's just, like, snapped at some point when he's, and he's gone to being, like, 40 or whatever. Maybe he's just lost his mind. Or maybe it's just, like, a big mech or illusion or projection he's made. I don't know, something obviously threatening. Ultimately, though, this is just a lot of fun speculation and predictions and theorizing, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my wildest, craziest theories. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Bye!